Hey, welcome back to another episode of What's Offensive Weekly. This is Scott. Jeff is right now outside calling people names. It's just what he does. So in this episode, we wanted to go ahead and give you an idea of what we're going to talk about here. Well, one of the first things we talk about is this huge controversy that was going on just a week or so ago about the H&M sweatshirt. If you're not familiar with that, it was about an African-American kid who was wearing a sweatshirt and the word monkey was on that. People were up in arms. We're going to go ahead and talk about that, as well as Pocahontas. Yes, we are back to Donald Trump when he called someone Pocahontas, namely Elizabeth Warren. We're going to talk about that, as well as one of Jeff's favorite animals on earth, Pitbulls. Yes, this is going to be an amazing episode. Thank you guys for listening. Toughen your skin up. It's What's Offensive Weekly.
Yeah, people... I have friends, our company built a plant down in Mexico, and several of my coworkers had to go down there and, teach our replacements. But they went down there, and they were down there for quite a while, and they said that it is literally like that where they got, there was an accident, and the cops come, and say you rear-ended me. Clearly you rear-ended me.
Yeah.
The cops would come and say, Scott, I want $500 from you, and Jeff, I want $500 from you. But no, sure. he was at fault. It doesn't matter. That's what I want right now.
Yeah, so corrupt.
Yep.
It's that same way in many countries. The only one I can speak to is South Africa. It is very much like that there, where you're being pulled over just to get a bribe.
Wow, that ever happened to you?
No, but it happened to a colleague of mine. He was there, and he pulled into the he flew into the airport, gets a rental car, which I don't know why he would do that. There's some countries I'll never drive in.
What do you just take a cab?
No. Oh, me? Yeah, I'll take an Uber or
hitchhike.
No,
that would be better, huh?
There's a tram that I would take there in South Africa, but.
Oh my God, you'd rather take a tram than drive in South Africa, wouldn't it? No.
Yeah, because really? The tram, it just took me to
okay.
To another station real close to the hotel, and I would just walk. It was safe, at least. You ever watch Mr. Magoo? And Mr. Magoo has no idea, all the death that's going on around him. That's probably me very often. I'm walking right through a drug deal of some sort. Good morning, and then I just walk right through. Right. But in South Africa, this guy had landed, and he got his rental car. He wasn't even off of the airport property, and a cop pulled him over and said, there are a whole bunch of tickets on this vehicle, and you're going to pay me. And it lasted for a while until finally my buddy says, listen, I'm American. I'm not paying you anything. The guy's like, all right, go ahead. And he let him go.
Really?
But think about that. There's a whole bunch of tickets on this vehicle you're driving, and you have to pay them right now. See, and South Africa is another one. It's the land of broken processes. That's how I determine it. And we can talk about that some other time. But yeah. So yeah, corruption is one of those things that there's a lot of these other countries that have that kind of issue, where they abuse power, which another thing that truly offends me is an abuse of power. And whether that is sexual harassment or molestation or in the Catholic Church, or if it's in the government, there's abuse of power all over the place. It offends me every single time.
I could go for some sexual harassment right now.
Well, you're not going to get it from me.
Damn it. All right.
Sorry.
Well, back to, the name of this thing, I guess, we're calling it as What's Offensive Weekly, but so offensive, and then to segue in the South Africa thing, and God, I don't mean to sound racist here or anything, but the one of the offensive things in the news lately was the H&M sweatshirt. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? And for those who don't know, it was a black boy who was African American boy. Who was had a sweatshirt on that said "coolest monkey in the jungle."
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So okay, the question would be if the photographer had a white model and we'd taken the picture, would it have been offensive? I don't know that anybody would have thought of that.
No.
In order for me to attribute that as racist, I have to presume a couple things are true. And that is that when the creator of that sweatshirt and that style did it, they intentionally were thinking about African Americans.
Okay.
And I can't, at this point in time, I don't have enough evidence to presume, yeah, that's the case. So what I ultimately am led to believe is somebody seriously dropped the ball when they grab this sweatshirt and they go, all right, come here, Ricky. And Ricky's a black kid, and they say, here, put this on, and then we go ahead and take a whole bunch of pictures. Somebody really dropped the ball.
Can we just be honest here and say that his name wasn't Ricky?
Well,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was just thinking of any name, and I thought if I say something that is like historically stereotypical, like a black person's name.
Lamont.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a great, I'm glad you asked that. Okay. Like, this is Scott Rourke right now trying not to be offensive.
See?
There you
go.
Yeah.
I'll just say it. If little Lamont was wearing that sweatshirt, this is my thing though.
Yeah.
To your thing, you got to look at it and you go, would H&M have something to gain or to lose by doing this? And obviously they would have something to lose. So that's what makes me think that it's not, it wasn't intentional. Also, people don't realize what it is that kid, little Lamont, he put on that sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Okay. A sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Then they take his picture, and then all that other stuff is done in Photoshop.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about. I
don't know.
I don't know this one absolutely for sure
because his mother. I saw an interview with her, and she was not offended by it.
Okay.
His mother was not offended by it. Which led me to believe that she saw it herself.
Well, yeah. She might have seen it, but she saw it when it was. Not necessarily.
She saw the end product before publication.
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
she
okay.
probably saw it. Typically,
99%. Fair enough.
Is that they'll put on a sweatshirt and then they put the different designs and different colors and they can do all of that stuff. If you look closely, like at Amazon, say, and for sure, it's the same guys wearing the same pants, women wearing the same pants, and they just put different things on. It's very quick and simple. It's way easier and less time consuming to do that than actually have the people do it. So, the thing is this guy's got a list of slogans to put on the shirt or list of colors or whatever, and they're just boom, boom, boom. They're just cranking them out, and they don't think anything of it. And it's to me, something like that is the farthest thing from racism, because he's not even thinking about it. It's not even entering his mind. But I can see why people would think that. Don't get me wrong.
So, are you saying that same model? Mm-hmm. We can actually go to Google right now and we can find the same model in the same pose with a green sweatshirt on that says that, but also a green sweatshirt that says I rock, or that same model in the same pose has a white sweatshirt on that says I'm the best monkey in the world, or I rock.
I'm the best monkey.
I can't think of what it was.
Coolest monkey in the jungle.
Like, that would be interesting if I could find that.
It would. I mean, that particular kid right now with all this hubbub going on, I don't know. But
you're never going to be able to find it, because it's always that sweatshirt.
But like I said, I mean, there's tons of that stuff. If you look on Amazon, it's the same models over and over, or like a T-shirt place. They put that stuff on them all the time. But, then you see all the memes afterwards of, this little white girl, and she has one that says, like, coolest cracker in the box. And they're like, hey, are we cool now? So, yeah, I'd wear that. I would totally wear that.
Okay, so did that offend me, or no, that didn't offend me. But if somebody got offended by it, I guess I can understand that. If a black person had been called monkey by somebody, like in their past, and that's a hurtful thing, I can understand it. But once again, I can just because somebody gets offended by it, I do not believe that you can therefore conclude this was racist or this was offensive. No, it just so happens that this thing that I didn't intend for your offense, you were offended by, and I can understand that, and therefore I will pull it down, or I will apologize because that wasn't my intent. I'm not apologizing in a sense like I'm guilty of it, because it wasn't my intent. So I can't apologize from guilt. I can apologize and say, I'm sorry. Let me take it down right now. Not because there's anything innately wrong with it. And that's an important distinction.
Going back to, what we said before, if you look up the definition of racism, it says any person from a race who thinks that their race is superior to another race. Yeah. Well, let's use this for an example. Let's say it was intentional. Okay, the monkey thing. Okay, fine, it's intentional. Making fun of somebody like that, it doesn't, in definition wise, it doesn't
necessarily mean
doesn't necessarily
superiority.
mean that they think that they're superior just because you're making fun of someone about something.
True.
About their appearance or their skin color or haircut or whatever. I mean,
But
you know,
I agree with you, but I think that where we have trouble there is Don Rickles.
oh,
Okay.
probably my favorite comedian.
He went after everyone,
Yeah.
race, sex,
Yeah,
religion, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people who found him racist,
Sure.
sexist, anti-Semitic, even though I think he was Jewish,
Yeah.
or anti-Muslim or whatever. I think that when you do make fun of those races, you are risking being labeled something that you may not want to be labeled.
Right.
And you're going to have to either, I don't know how you're going to get around that. Especially today, where I think we have a hypersensitive society that is almost, it can't be, I would hope, but it would almost seem as if they're just looking for something to be offended by.
Right. Yes, they are. Everybody has too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
Everybody says they're busy. They're not. They have too much time on their hands. They want to be offended by something. If I sit there and make fun of you, and I make,
Which you do.
I do. Yeah. I make fun of some sort of joke and about you being white. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that I'm racist towards white people?
Right.
Or is it just being Don Rickles and just making fun of somebody?
But do you think that one key component in it is whether or not there is a relationship? Like having a relationship with someone, like, I don't know about you, but I'm sure I have friends who are gay. I have friends who are atheist. I have friends who are Catholic. I have friends that are black or Asian, whatever.
I don't hang around with any of those fucks. Yeah.
But because I have that relationship, I'm able to make some of those jokes that if I didn't have the relationship, that same joke would be received as racist. But because they know me.
I'm not just going to go up to somebody who I could see that's obviously, say, gay in the grocery store and tell them some gay joke.
Right.
I mean, that's, that's not necessarily.
But Don Rickles didn't do that. Don Rickles didn't have relationships with everyone.
But people paid to see him, and they knew what they were getting into when they were, it's not like, I highly doubt that he walked around in the grocery store and just said, hey, fucking monkey or whatever.
Yeah.
He would do all kinds of crazy shit
In case the listener can't tell, I'm really talking this through. I'm thinking as we're talking to try to get to a conclusion, because this is therapeutic for me in some degree.
I hear you.
Because I as I said, it's not my intent to just go around and offend people, but at the same time, I want to be honest. I want to be able. So asking about Ricky, I said, take Ricky and put this sweatshirt on him. Like it can be too much. There's a certain point in time where, like, damn it, I don't want to be politically correct all the time. Right. I don't want to have to think about this, because I don't understand necessarily why would a listener who just tuned in, and when Scott said, so go get the model and let's just call him Tyrone. Why would you call him Tyrone? Like, my first question is that truly, is it racist that I said that? Is it offensive that I said that? Why are you offended that I said that? For instance, Pocahontas. When Donald Trump, when Donald Trump is referring to her as Pocahontas, people are getting offended. This comes from a real conversation that I had. And the conversation went like this. It's probably my best friend that I've ever had in this world. His name is Raji. Raji is a black guy. He's gay. Hope I'm not outing him. He's been gay for a while, so I don't think I'm outing him. But he and I had
gay black guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a minority.
Sure. Exactly. I told him one time, I go, the only thing you could do worse is just if you're Jewish. Then everybody hates you. But because we have a relationship, I can make that joke. I think he knows that I don't dislike him. I love him. I don't dislike him for any of those reasons. That doesn't matter to me. But he and I were having a conversation about Trump and about Pocahontas, and my perspective, and he and I are very different politically. Okay, night and day politically. But I don't care about that. He's still one of my greatest friends ever. But he and I are having
You're not racist. We get it. All right, go ahead.
I try to. I list all my black friends and all my gay friends. I keep it on me at all times so I can show to people. Go, see, I'm not racist here. Right. They can vouch for me. which Chris Rock would say makes you racist. Sure. If you know how many black people you're friends with, you are racist. So
that was racist as shit right there. Doing a black.
I'm trying
guy
to imitate.
impression.
I'm trying to imitate
No,
Chris
you
Rock.
were trying. Yeah, it was a black guy.
So anyway,
so a white guy trying to imitate a black.
I'm
guy.
talking about Pocahontas,
Oh my God, I can't even deal with
and I said to him, I said, and Raji, when I was young, Raji had this comment. He really affected me like socially. I tell people he affected me more socially than anybody else in my life, more than my parents or grandparents or pastors. It was him. And I remember him having this conversation with me about humor. And he was saying, Scott, what you need to do is you need to be able to think of a famous celebrity or athlete. It was namely an athlete in every sport. Think of a famous athlete in every sport. So that way, when you see someone performing in that sport, you can go, you go Greg Louganis. Okay. Yeah, you go Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
You go Terry Bradshaw, whatever. Yeah. And I said to him, when I make that statement, and this knucklehead is diving and they're horrible, and I say, yeah, you go Greg Louganis. Am I insulting Greg Louganis? No. I'm insulting the individual saying, yeah, you're trying to be this. Right. I said, I attribute the same thing with Pocahontas. When he says to Elizabeth Warren, yeah, okay, Pocahontas, you're about as much Indian as freaking this mailbox right here.
Sure.
You're not Indian. I think it came down to it's like she's 132nd.
Yeah.
So there's she's got to be whatever the case.
Yeah.
That's the point is this, not every joke is truly, in my mind, not every joke is truly racist. So when I tease them about some stereotypical thing, like I can't leave my wallet around you. Do I believe, Raji, because you're a black gay man, that I can't leave my wallet around you? No. So for me, that joke, because we have that relationship, says, all right, I'm not accepting that as a racist. I can still laugh at it because it is funny.
Right.
It's sarcasm.
Well, it's same to what you were saying. I mean, you think of the most famous person in that sport, Lawrence Taylor or whoever, whatever, and it's the same thing. What other famous American Indian name do you know? None.
Especially
exactly.
Female. Especially female.
That's what I'm saying. Besides, what are you going to say? Sitting Bull?
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what I told him. I go, listen, if you ask me right now to name 3 famous women that are Indians, Pocahontas is it. That's the only one I got. And I
the
said,
chick from Dances with Wolves. Whoever that was.
Stands with a fist.
Yes.
Stands with a fist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shumani Tutanka Owachi.
Wow. Was that also over the Auschwitz thing?
No, that wasn't over the Auschwitz thing. No.
Okay.
No, that was during the first Thanksgiving dinner.
When the Americans built their internment camps for the Native Indians.
Yes.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, the FEMA camps.
Yeah. It said raising corn will make you free.
Yes.
Yeah. These are just jokes, everybody.
Raising corn.
Whatever it was.
You call it maize. I call it corn. Yes.
So I was thinking of one more thing I was going to tell you about the conversation with Raji, but it's escaping me right now. But anyway, all right. So we've talked about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. From now on, and I think this is a really good starting point for what we want this podcast to be. Okay. We've addressed what is it? What's the definition of offensive? Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that offend you and I? Is it our intent necessarily to offend? It's not. But I think that
sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is our intent to offend. But I know for myself, I'm not coming into this podcast thinking I'm just going to try to offend people. I come into this podcast knowing that if in fact I'm going to share my perspective, it's going to be different from some people, and I'm running the risk of offending them. And what my hope is that people will learn that they've got to figure out ways not to be necessarily offended just because somebody shares their opinion. That's at least my hope. What do you think?
I just like to offend people. All right.
So
it's kind of like, and I think Trump, that's part of like the Trump appeal. Like people like that because it's just funny because it's not nice what he says and not good what he says necessarily, but
I laugh at their reaction.
But I laugh at the reaction of other people. That's what gets me the absolute most about Trump is just that people just their heads explode as soon as he says something stupid and crazy, and he does all the time. He absolutely he says crazy shit. But
a quote I had heard about him, or somebody said something about him that I thought this is very true, is they said Democrats take him literally, but don't take him seriously. Okay, they take him literally, but not seriously. Okay. Republicans take him seriously, but not literally.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
So
Yeah.
he says
I'm
stuff.
with- yeah.
I take him serious. Like I think that he has an agenda. Sometimes I'm telling you right now, I don't think I think that there's times he doesn't have a clue as to about his own policy.
Sure.
And, like he will say things, and all of a sudden you'll see Republicans go, "Oh, Mr. President," what he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, yeah." Like that happens all the time. Yeah. But yeah, to watch people react to him is some of the funniest things. Like the stuff that they get offended by or they get upset by. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
And typically I like, sometimes on certain issues, I wouldn't like go to bat for somebody like that or everything. Mm-hmm. But I try to do that just because it eggs people on, like this like internet bullshit, or whatever. I'm just doing it just to push buttons, and making people, their heads explode even more.
Because there are some people, like I'd asked you this question, I don't know, about an hour ago, and I basically said, do you enjoy talking to people of different perspectives? And you say, I enjoy talking to them, not debating them. Mm-hmm. And that's an important distinction, because some of the most meaningful conversations I've had are with people who do not view things my way. And that conversation is all about, help me understand why you don't. You see, if someone, and I know there are people out there who really believe that Donald Trump is racist, and I welcome your proof of that. I agree. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, if you can show me something that categorically, boom. But, and I guess I will also say this, just because you bring me one thing that he says something racist, I can't say that just because one thing that you have said, that means the whole thing is racist. Right. I bet most people who are hearing this right now have told a racist joke before, but that does not therefore mean that equates to being a racist. I don't believe that.
Some things are hard to talk in a civilized way. Like for instance, I mean, I really, I don't want to say necessarily anybody, because some of my friends can somewhat, but like the one topic of pit bulls, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't like pit bulls. Mm-hmm. I think that they should be eradicated, okay? But
wiped off the earth.
Wiped off the earth. Yes, absolutely wiped off the earth.
Even though they only commit 0.5% of the crimes, the dog crimes. It's only 0.5%. You know this.
It is only 0.5%.
But they should be wiped off the earth.
They should. But the crimes that they commit are just terrible. Rape and pillaging people, all kinds of stuff. But it's hard to have a civilized
Rational
conversation with somebody who owns a pit bull, because when you as soon as you say, well, I don't like pit bulls, I think that they commit, you can tell them all kinds of facts. The fact is that the vast majority of I know the pit bull isn't a breed. It's I forget what it is, an American Mastiff, blah, 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 or what, I don't know, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And the Staffordshire or something, that's what it is, American Staffordshire. And you could say, well, look at the percentage of bites compared to other dogs and this and that. And, and their teeth, their jaws are made for clamping. They're like, well, Chihuahuas are really angry too. Well, okay, fine. But if a Chihuahua mauls me, I'm not going to die. This dog is made to kill.
You lose a finger.
Yeah, maybe, but this dog is made to kill people. That's the jaws to kill. The jaws are made for that and everything. It's simple as that. But
do you feel it's something in the nature of that animal?
Not necessarily. I think all dogs, all cats are wild animals at heart, and they can snap at any time. Okay. Your dog, little Shih Tzu, little Shih Tzu could freak out on you one day and maul you. But you know what? You're going to grab the thing and throw it against the wall, and that's the end of it. You're not grabbing a pit bull. That's my thing. Even if it's the exact same temperament as all the other dogs, when they clamp on, they're clamped on. There's all there is to it.
Yes.
And you're most likely going to die. You look for it every day, and I see these stories of pit bulls mauling people and kids and all this stuff. I want to say right now, the nanny dog. You ever see that thing where they're saying, oh, the pit bulls used to be nanny dogs, and they used to watch over kids and everything? That's bullshit. It's a myth. It's not true at all whatsoever. It was concocted by the internet.
They just found a picture of a pit bull sitting next to a kid.
Saying,
tell this whole story.
Yeah, exactly. So the point is that people it's very hard to have a civil conversation with someone who owns a pit bull because
they're emotionally involved.
They're emotionally involved. As soon as you say, I don't like pit bulls, you say, you don't like my dog? Oh my God, that's my kid.
And I do understand that response. I do. Here's the problem with it. In order for us to have a meaningful conversation, though, you have to be able to emotionally disconnect.
You have to separate yourself from the whole situation.
Because if you can't, you cannot be objective.
Right.
And that's the issue. And that's oftentimes what it comes into Trump, because obviously there's a lot of African Americans that are anti-Trump. And so for them, the filter is literally, it would seem to me, everything he says, if there's any way I can construe it as racist, it is. And what I'm saying is, we have to, and I too, I have a bias. I have a bias. I can't always be objective about things, but I think that we need to be striving to do that, striving to be objective and listening to the other person's perspective. And unfortunately, I don't know if that happens enough.
I agree. Yeah, no. They always say people listen. You listen to
hear what they're saying,
respond, not hear what they're saying. Exactly. And like with the pit bull thing. I mean, I have tons of friends who it's. I saw this meme. It was like a pit bull bingo, and it was about how pit bull owners respond when you say pit bulls are bad, and it's like one of all these different scenarios and everything. And one of them was post a picture of your pit bull sleeping or whatever, and or being funny or playful or whatever. And almost all of my friends have, it looks so dangerous, doesn't it? Well, no, it doesn't. A gun doesn't look dangerous either. I'm sitting there on the table, but all of a sudden when it shoots me in the face, it's dangerous. So I understand. I get it. I've met plenty of pit bulls. Some are very nice dogs. Don't get me wrong. All that stuff. But I'm just saying that I would never ever have a pit bull when I had a child, because I see them. They snap all the time, and that's all you hear about.
But that's not all you're saying. You're also saying, I want them eradicated from the earth.
I do want them. And let me be. The other thing that they say is, look at this pit bull. No, that's not a pit bull. That's a part pit bull. It's a quarter pit bull or whatever. I'm talking about full breed pit bulls. Yes, they're. You can say what you want, but I just. Look at the jaw on that thing.
Yeah.
You're not getting it off of you. It just happened at your old house, right at the corner there. Somebody owns a pit bull. It was on the home association page, where the pit bull came out and attacked another dog, and the woman got involved, and it ripped up her arm and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Yep.
On Melbourne?
On Melbourne. It was, I think it was the house almost right across from your old house.
Yeah,
there they have a dog, and they had two dogs or whatever. One was a pit bull, and it got out. Yeah,
and somebody else on Melbourne
was walking their dog. I don't know if they lived on Melbourne, but it happened right at the corner. They said at the corner of Melbourne and Magnolia. So yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, one thing I think that we're going to do from now on is each week what we will try to do is talk about some, because I think we're going to go with. What is it again?
What's Offensive Weekly?
What's Offensive Weekly.
Okay.
And so what we'll be trying to do is we will talking about events that are currently going on that are offensive, and Jeff and I will be sharing our perspective on those. We will talk about current trends that we find, either that we find offensive or that we know that people are offended of. We'll try to go ahead and talk about that. Cultural things that offend us, and maybe even a fun one, behaviors that offend us. Clothing that offends us.
Sure.
And we can
Coolest
talk about
monkey
that.
in the jungle, like that kind of clothing.
Yes.
Or you mean like clothing like pants and showing their ass and that
sure.
type of pants on the ground. Remember that?
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah. How about tattoos that are offensive?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Ooh, that's good, huh?
So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up then.
Oh, we're already?
Well, then we can record another one.
Oh, all right.
So, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for sitting in, and we'll see you guys next time on
What's Offensive Weekly with Scott and Jeff.
Yeah. See ya.
Don't be offended.